Three, two, one. And we've already checked the audio. So, are you guys ready?
Yep.
Yo.
All right, let me throw out a quick. We're live. It's not too bad of a start time, quote unquote.
We're damn near 2 hours past when we usually start.
Hey man, blame Ace.
We start at 9:30. I don't know.
Dog, who told you 9:30?
I thought 9:30 was the time.
Bro, it's been 8:30 for years at this point.
Yeah, he's kind of right.
We got the receipts in the group chats.
Oh wow.
Why do you think you would be expressing the fact that we're not ready to start till we wouldn't be ready to start till 9 if there wasn't the fact that we would be starting earlier?
You know what contributed to it too is you keep saying, well, for the last few weeks, if it's cool, I'd like to start at 8:30.
Your audio's cutting out a little bit.
Which is
Oh,
good.
really?
Which is good. We identify this. So I don't know if there's anything
Yeah.
you do about that. What did you say? You're trying to put the blame back on me? It sounds like a question
No,
tactic.
I'm not putting the blame on you, but I'm realizing why probably my brain shifted is because the way you've been saying we should try to start at 8:30, it's almost like it made me think 8:30 was earlier than normal instead of.
And it's more so because we never actually start on time, but I guess I can see it. It's
I do prefer 9:30.
I mean, that's fine.
I know you do.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously, I said it once, and we're streaming, so I don't say anything crazy. I've said it once, and I'll say it again. I don't really care if we stream at 4 a.m. in the morning. You just have to keep that same energy.
I think was our goal like when we were starting at 8:30, was it to start the podcast at 8:30 to be on so we could start at 9:30?
Start.
It always does. We've never started
It didn't tonight.
at 8:30.
At
at 8:30.
Half the time it takes that long is because we're waiting for certain people to actually get on at the right time.
This is truth. If we're all on, it should take less than half an hour. It took a little.
Yeah.
It took a little more than tonight, but obviously, we're still trash. Okay, let me send out this. Why did they do that? That's so weird. Okay. Hopefully no one's even paying attention to us rambling about pre-production, post-production type of things. But if we are really ready, and hopefully the mic isn't getting cut out as much, Ace, I'm going to start recording.
I think we're good. But yeah, let me know while I talk right now.
Yeah, you're good.
You're good for now.
You're good.
I think it was 2 Chrome windows.
Maybe we might do some computer upgrading soon.
Yep.
Okay, so starting recording. Okay, we are live. We are recording. Welcome back, guys. Welcome back, everyone, to the Be Warmed and Be Filled podcast. We're back. We're back, and we got the guys, the crew, the bros. Not all of them, but we got Ace.
What's up?
We got Ghost.
Yo.
We got myself, Questlando. Dang, it really feels like there should be someone else. Guys, how we all doing? How we all feeling?
Pretty good.
A little better than usual. Could be worse. So.
Got you. I'm feeling pretty great myself. The time we're recording, depending on where you are, it's make sure you're bundling up. But if you do live in more New England area, you're not new to this. You're true to this. I guess before we super get into it, Ace, when you have a chance, just check the stream, make sure that's all right, and also check the description and and drop a comment just to make sure everything's good. I probably should have said that beforehand, but sometimes you get again pre and post production stuff on the podcast. Anyway, regarding the actual podcast, as far as like intro stuff, if you ever want to hit us up or become more in tune with us on our socials will be in the description below. Especially, you can find myself on Twitter, /X, and Insta at Questlando. Also, you can find our song selections of the week Spotify playlist if you're ever trying to look for new music. We are, in my opinion, an excellent source for dope music that's came out recently. You might discover a new band or artist or record that you like. So we generated a Spotify playlist that you can also find in the description below right now, actually. And also, if you enjoy the podcast but you just want to hear specific topic videos, look out, not too far in the future, where we edit and slice down the video so you can just listen to the specific topic podcast, podcast topic videos. And obviously, any and all feedback is always greatly appreciated. Now, before we get into the topics, a couple of things. One, do any of us have any topic? I'm so topic minded. Sorry. Any content recommendations for the week? I think it's more uncommon for me to actually have something. I actually do have one for this week. So, this is just typical like a Questlando thing. But I bumped into a YouTube channel this week, and when it's good, you end up going down a rabbit hole. I think people usually do this with shows, but anyway, the YouTube channel is The Deep Dive, nice and clean, specific. Again, The Deep Dive, and you can guess it. They do deep dives, in film analysis. So all your cult classic favorite films. I think I was just watching one about Jaws, Alien, Indiana Jones. They do those deep dive analysis videos. It's things that that's the type of content I greatly enjoy. All the little Easter eggs and things that you missed. And nice, thank you Ace, for confirming everything's good in the description. So again, if you like the type of content, go check them out. The deep dives for the level of production that they put in, and everyone always feels about this way, but everyone that heard content creators, I'm surprised they don't have way more subscribers, but I'm sure they'll be there one day. I think they're relatively, in the grand scheme of things, new. They've only been like around for like less than a year. And one other thing before we dive into the topics, obviously not to hold anybody up, I did another Twitter poll question, Twitter/X poll question this week. So I want to ask you, although admittedly it's not applicable to everyone, my apologies. And it's kind of a basic one, but I think it's one that does speak volumes to where people's interests lie. So I guess I will ask you, Ghost, and you might have already answered this, so it might be a bit redundant. But simply put, again, it's the basic. What do you think is more important? Or in other words, if one had to go, which one would it be? Music or sports?
It's pretty easy. Even though I do love sports, yeah, get that out of here. Music stays.
Yep, that didn't surprise me. And that was the winner of the little poll. More people think music is more important, which again, I would say that is relatively easy. I mean, obviously, the consumption of music is probably one of the biggest industries in this entire world. But I wonder why we value music so much. I think
It'd be interesting if you
Go
were
ahead.
to have asked if it was like one specific genre of music, like I don't know, R&B or something. If you would get rid of that one specific genre versus getting rid of sports. That
No,
I'm not quite sure, but
that's a good idea. I mean, I can definitely follow up with that like next week or something like that. And I mean, in general, I probably should be including you guys. I'm sure you guys sometime bump into questions that you would want to get an audience perspective on, or bigger than yourself. So yeah, I'll definitely follow up with that one day. Interestingly enough, and again, it's not a topic, but I feel as if I could live in a world without music. And I think there's a lot of value that sports and the world of sports, not necessarily as entertainment, but as everything that sports and athleticism relates to, that is super valuable. So again, I don't know right now, top of my head, I would 100% say I think sports is more important for me, but I do see a tremendous amount of value in that. But also for any and all podcast listeners, we want to hear your input on that as well. Again, I think this is relatively simple, but you never know. But yeah, what's more important to y'all, music or sports? And if you feel compelled to, leave a comment below or somewhere. But if there's nothing else to discuss, let's jump right into the topics. So let me go here first. A few good men. Now, if I were to say it was a theme, quote unquote, we're not professionals at this just yet, but if I'll say a theme, we got a lot of serious topics to discuss. It's not going to be a bunch of fun and games. We got some serious, critical, this could impact a person's entire life and future stuff to talk about. Also, some sports stuff. But let's start off light with stuff that's kind of just a bit arbitrary. And did anyone even know this was going on? All right. There we go. Should be showing. All right. Salute to Hollywood Unlocked. Salute to Jason Lee. As you may have heard, dozens of American birds to be renamed due to offensive name origins. So to give Ornithological Society, the AOS said in a statement that they plan to change the names of a dozen birds that could be deemed offensive. Colleen Handel, the society's president, said that some of the bird species were named after enslavers, white supremacists, and grave robbers. The plan involves renaming between 70 to 80 species, predominantly found in the United States and Canada, as reported by Unilad. Some birds' names include Batchman warbler, the Hodgson's frogmouth, and the Townsend's warbler. We've come to understand that there are certain names that have offensive or derogatory connotations that cause pain to people, and that it is important to change those to remove those. We also have Ken Kaufman, I hope I'm saying these names right, an influential figure in the birding community. Did anyone, I mean, I guess there are communities for everything, but did anyone,
I know about birding. It used to be a lot more popular in the early 1900s.
There you go. Jeez, maybe you could shine some light that we didn't know. But yeah, if you're in the know about the birding community, told NPR that the name changes will make a significant impact despite being against the name changes at first. I've been seeing some of these birds and using these names for every year for the last 60 years. It's going to feel like a bother to some people, but I think it's actually an exciting opportunity. It's an exciting opportunity to give these birds names that celebrate them rather than some person in the past. So, we've seen this with different, in my experience, and you guys can tell me where else you've seen it, but especially when it comes to organization names, especially sports, I think one of the most famous examples is, I forget the baseball team. It might have been like literally just the Indians or something like that, but there's also the NFL team, the former Washington. Is it offensive to actually just say it? Anyway, the former Washington Redskins became the Washington football team, and I think they ended up on the Washington Commanders. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah. So we've seen organizations, and over time, I guess it's become more of a societal acceptable thing to change names that people deem offensive by today's standards. So yeah, and I think we might even brush on a similar topic about this, but I guess it's never obviously here we definitely double dip when it comes to certain topics. I knew that was gonna happen. Don't look at that. Sorry, I was just trying to pull something up. Anyway, so simple question to y'all. Do y'all when y'all see stuff like this, do y'all think it's actually provide some level of benefit and or like significance to do things like this? Or like it actually eliminates racism in some way? Or do you think if something's originally named something, it might as well just stay there? If you lay there, you might as well stay there. I think I heard Glorilla say that. You know how burden. I'm not trying to pick on you. You probably don't know too much, but my bad. Go ahead.
Yeah, of course, I don't know too much. I heard a podcast. There was a podcast episode of podcast I listened. But anyway, yeah, for this particular topic, I think um in general, like my personal thoughts are that I couldn't care less if a bird has a name of a person that was problematic or even evil in history. I truly couldn't care less. Um,
So the
I was
bird,
trying to
so the bird we call Joseph Stalin.
exactly do not care, do not care. um, but
Mussolini,
still don't care. You can't name anything. I don't think I couldn't think of any.
Donald Trump. I'm just
Nope.
joking.
Um, and also like it's a bird, so if you're naming some like problematic person from the past a bird, it's not even like you're glorifying them. It's a bird. Like I don't know. It seems silly to me, but of course I don't speak for every marginalized uh, community in the world. So maybe there are other people that actually care about this. I feel like it's probably an overcorrection from people who have some form of guilt for things in the past or whatever. Um, but yeah, either way, that's my thoughts on whether or not I think it actually matters. One point I have is that in favor of it is if the name changes actually help distinguish the birds better than just these random names that they have right now based off of that it doesn't actually relate to the anything about the bird. I think that could be helpful, like if they become more descriptive.
Yeah.
um but yeah, that's the only incentive I think there would be for changing all of the names, and I think you should do it across the board if that's the goal.
Yeah, like to that point, slide over to the next tab just to give some additional context. So like they were saying, um, a lot of these names were based off like enslavers or white supremacists. I don't know how they're specifically defining white supremacists. Or probably some big from the past. So these are examples of names. Obviously, they gave some previously, but they also have Ross's Goose, Gamble's Qual, Clark's Grebe. What is it, Grebe? But yeah, to go along with your point, yeah, some of these names are literally just a person's name and the type of bird. But
Yeah,
if it was like blue
red
jay,
nosed goose or something like
yeah,
that.
exactly. That would obviously be. To be honest, I didn't even know there were that many birds that were named after people. One, and I mean, I guess it's like if the people discovered the animal, is that why they are even named after them?
Probably not. Probably not.
It's not like physics. If you created the or math, if you created the system, it gets named after you.
Nah, I doubt it.
Fair enough. What about you, Ghost? Do you think this is some level of beneficial change, or do you think it's really just modern day trying to appease things and it really doesn't matter, or shouldn't even be enacted or gone through with?
I mean, I'm pretty much on the same wave as Ace. Like, I get that it's some people will definitely not be are definitely not happy with the current names, which I understand if they're named after slavers and all that. But like, this is such a niche thing to change. Like, it's not, if it was like a street name or something that's named after some racist bigot, I get it more so than this. And again, it's kind of like a scientific thing where these are all established names, and changing it would, it just kind of seems like it's a more work than it's worth for something that is, again, is so niche that how many people would even care about it? Like 1,000, 10,000? I don't know. It wouldn't be a lot. Like,
Hey
I
man, you
get
don't
it.
know if that birding community is big. Don't insult nobody now.
Maybe they're bigger than I'm making it out, but unless it was like a name like that had the hard N word in it somewhere, that and it's like you say, you're like, whoa. I'm I don't know. I'm not too, I don't care too much either way on if it changes, to be honest. It doesn't, in my mind, really affect anything.
Got you.
I
And
don't
yeah,
know. Maybe I'm just
I
part of the problem.
well, no. As a follow up, I was gonna ask. Like, I think a lot of people would probably feel the same sentiment. Like, at the end of the day, obviously, no slander or no offense to the birding community, but I think this is something that the vast majority of society wouldn't care about. So, I guess a follow up question could be: if this was something that wasn't so niche, and something that you know, something that you do say or talk about in your regular day life. So I guess, like you were saying, like a street name or a building name that you typically do like speak on. If they change that, would you find any less or more problem with that? Let's go back to you
um,
guys.
I mean, I don't think there would. I think I'd have less of a problem with that, and I understand it more because it's so visible. Like, everyone sees it. People are saying it all the time. It doesn't really matter all too much when you really look at it, but I get it more than the alternative.
What if like the company that you work for is named after some old big and they completely change that? Would you care?
Not really. I mean, it's be good, I guess. Like, it's objectively a good thing, but I just I really wouldn't care, to be honest. Unless,
Gotcha.
like, as it was something like really egregious or really real piece of work.
Right. Right. Got you. And what about you, Ace? What if the changes of names are something that affected your day to day things that you speak on in your life? Would you then have any more level of caring or any less?
Yeah, I mean, I think if I worked for a place like Hitler's solar company,
Jesus
crazy,
Christ! Holy moly!
then yeah, I just because I wouldn't want to have to say that I worked there. Yeah,
They did say that the Germans were very efficient. Or
yeah. But I mean, hey, like Adidas, like that. I don't want
Adidas.
to. Yeah, that's a German name based off of somebody who had some dealings with the Nazis back in World War II. But
Oh shoot. I didn't know that.
Oh
yeah,
my God! Ghost in history, like the worst couple in
Was
history.
this is this a common thing? You knew this, Quest?
Are you out of your cotton? No, black people can say that. I'm not like that white
Oh
sportscaster.
shoot, yeah, that one announcement about Russ.
Mhm.
I
Yes,
didn't know
that is generally common knowledge, but it's not like
that's
not. I'm
not
not
even
saying
history though.
everybody knows it, but
That's not real history. That's just like niche fact.
I think when it comes to the literally like two biggest names in apparel and shoes,
Yeah,
Nike and Adidas, I think people have a vague understanding of their history. But this is not about that. Yeah, you were saying Ace or were you set there?
no, yeah, that was pretty much it. And I was just gonna say, just a quick factoid about the birding community and its importance. The creation of the EPA is like huge impacts in the past, but yeah, who's to say if they'll have an impact in the future?
Huh.
Hmm. Yeah, that's actually interesting. Yeah, the moral of the story is I don't know about y'all, but I didn't even know there was this many subspecies of birds to where they could have. I mean, listen, this thing says in Colorado, here's a list of 53 birds that may be impacted by the mass name change among 500 plus species that have been documented in the state. This is
Yeah,
in
that's wild.
one state across 50 states. There's 500 plus species of birds. Obviously, we know with any species, there's like, a bunch of different species of, or, subspecies or whatever the case may be. And we have a bunch that we haven't even like discovered yet. There's always that meme about how the Most High is dropping new animals and like Pokemon every day or every generation. But yeah, I'm like learning something new, like we all say at the end of the podcast. But again, so
People
to the
really
bird.
care if a bird's called Bonaparte's go? Like, come on, no one cares, bro. Like Napoleon's been dead. Like, ah, it's a lot of work for.
Yeah, that is a
I'll stop
that
being
is
mean. But
that is interesting. Oh yeah, how much work does it change to take? I mean, we saw with like the Washington. I think people to this day still call the Washington the Redskins. So I think it takes like a couple of years for something to really change. And plus, the name got to hit. You can't just change to something that don't hit. It got to hit anyway. Again, I salute to the birding community. We don't got no beef with y'all, but I don't think we have any more to talk about on this. So unless there's anything else, we can move on. Man. So to the shade room. I don't know if anyone else has heard about this, but DoorDash, a service that's so damn popular these days. DoorDash warns users. Oh, oh, sorry, I shouldn't be interrupting while I'm talking in the middle of an intro. But DoorDash warns users of delayed delivery times as a result of not tipping your driver. The thing I was about to say, my apologies, is the next two topics involve like restaurants, and I was gonna like separate these two, but I think we can pull them all because they're very closely similar. Funnily enough, I didn't even realize I took them topics together. But let's focus on this first of all. Again, sorry. So, DoorDash said y'all better start tipping their employees. According to Verge, the company is now rolling out some consequences to users who don't tip. When $0 is placed in the tip option, a message appears. Orders with no tip may take longer to get delivered. Are you sure you want to continue? I actually like when they ask you, are you sure? Or a confirmation. I don't like systems where they just, okay, you selected that, go on. Dashers can pick and choose which orders they want to do. Orders that take longer to be accepted by Dashers tend to result in slower deliveries. This gives the driver the ability to prioritize work that is giving them more coins with a T for some reason. Close to the shade room.
Jesus,
Anyway,
bro.
so simple enough, companies are always trying to min max on profits, and this you could argue does support their actual employees or the ones that are actually doing the job, and not necessarily just the company as a whole. So yeah, I'm just curious to know what y'all want the people think about something like this. Uh, Disclaimer: I don't use delivery DoorDash Uber Eats type system, so I don't have much of a dog in this race. But we can still look at it from a whole holistic point. Do y'all think that this is a fair practice and it does support and it is you're in favor of it because it does support the drivers or dashers as they're called, I guess, or do you think it's really just some corporation initiative? Will put more onus on the consumer so we don't have to pay the dashers or drivers. What do y'all think? Ghost, will start with you. What do you think?
Uh, as someone that unfortunately uses DoorDash a lot more than I should be,
But do you tip is the biggest question.
I tip every single time. But
Hey, so your orders will be right on time.
yeah, but I mean, it's kind of common sense in that if you don't add a tip, then the dashes are really gonna prioritize you. But the company itself putting out a message like this just rubs me the wrong way. For one, because DoorDash is so absurd with their fees and all that. It's it's honestly it's a joke. And them saying that again, like I always tip, so it's not something that I'm pressed about necessarily, but on uh, paying more money on top of their fees and all that, plus the cost of the food, can get pretty pricey. And this kind of makes it seem like they're shifting the onus of them paying their drivers more in lieu of having the consumer supplement the driver's income, which is kind of the whole basis of tips. But it's just, I don't know. I can't really describe why, but it just really rubs me the wrong way. And they're not really saying like they'll actively do something to discourage the dasher from getting you your food on time. But like if I don't know their system or how they notify to some shady business in hiding orders that don't have any tips versus other ones, it would not surprise me. So I guess like it wouldn't impact me, and I am pro tipping when there's driving and all that being done, but it's I don't want to hear this message from DoorDash. Is what it boils down to.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay, so I mean, kind of like we were originally saying, like at the end of the day, you don't have too many problems with it, but the company pushing this kind of rubs you the wrong way because it does seem like there is their like intent to like push it on the consumers.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What about you, Ace? What do you think of this type of practice? Think it's fair and just, or do you think companies are just doing some shady? Like this is another way that we can get cut costs and stuff.
Um, I guess it's just kind of weird because Ghost being somebody who uses the app a lot and
Oh, he
just
did he say a lot? Are we putting that in this?
more than he should.
Oh shoot.
Um, and like he understands that it's just common logic that the lower your tip will be, the longer you can expect to wait for your food. So if it was already common logic, I mean, if it was already like basically common knowledge or common sense anyway, the company implement some implementing something that makes it like official,
Mm-hmm.
it does feel like it's it, I don't feel like it's the company is on the side of the Door Dashers or anything like that. I do feel more like it's they're trying to capitalize on this opportunity to um make it make there be less incentive for paying their Door Dashers more. Like make it sound like, oh yeah, they're contractors and now they can officially prioritize things, but that's that's I feel like that's an excuse. It's and to me this almost feels like more of a like a reason why the whole tipping system in general is just kind of just it's so weird. It's like so ill defined and kind of amorphous, and if it
bullshit.
wasn't there,
I'll help you. It's bullshit.
yeah. If it wasn't there, things would be so much simpler. Company pays the employees more. Employees don't expect tips. The customer knows exactly what they're paying for, and it's going to cost the customers more, but they don't have to worry about figuring out no tip system or their food coming late. Like this is a lot of hoopla for nothing, really.
But I also think there would always be a system in place to where you can like show the customers can show additional appreciation, or there should always be a system in place where the customers can show additional appreciation.
I
Yeah, but it
mean,
shouldn't
the
be a
thing,
requirement. Like
yeah,
tip
and
in the United States is literally like it's literally a requirement.
yeah, and
It's a
we
social requirement, but it's not a
It's
mandated requirement.
it's it's not mandated like they won't arrest you if you don't do it, but it's 95% of people do it because it is kind of a social thing, but also to allow waiters and waitresses to make a living.
Yeah, exactly. If you didn't give them any tips, they would not be able to make a living. They don't even make minimum wage. Like, it's ridiculous. And I would like, in my mind, I think because I'm from here, I will always think there should be a system in place where you can tip the, tip the employees. But at the same time, we know that there's other countries. We've
Oh
been to
yeah.
another country where it's almost discouraged. Like, what are you doing? Don't.
Did we tip in France? I can't remember. I think we did, right? At least one of the spots.
Yeah, yeah, maybe at one of the spots. But yeah, I mean, just um talking to people over there, it was like, this is not really something you do
Yeah.
proactively. It's like not something that's common.
Yeah.
So there it is possible to have or to have a call, and it's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I mean,
True.
there's other um what do you call it? Like, not careers, but jobs where you're doing a service for somebody and there's no tip expected at all, and it's perfectly fine because the person is earning what they're supposed to be earning. Like, um, any. I mean, maybe movers do expect tips, but um, just a lot of times there's no tips involved in that because they're either getting a contract amount or whatever. Like, it's not it's all established beforehand. It's not no tip system on the side.
Yeah. Yeah. True indeed. I almost want to ask, like, if this were to have any level of quote unquote success, whatever success looks like in this context, what would you guys think if they implemented this in like little restaurants? Like, what if what if the way the speed in which you get your food is not necessarily just the time you arrive, but also
You got a
dependent
pre-tip.
on the based off of the yeah, exactly, whether you'll be leaving a tip or not.
People would riot. Like that's too much.
No tipping, you get Jamaican restaurant level of service.
Facts. They. Yeah, I mean, it seems like the moral of the story for this is just really like, we all are accustomed to tipping, good service or good quality of service, but this does feel like it's a bit like big corporation not really being supportive of their employees and just pushing it elsewhere. But pull up the next topic, or not that topic per se, but I want to know what you guys think of this. In a similar vein of, the restaurant, uh, eating industry trying to get an additional buck, or make sure they don't have to pay certain costs. Restaurant goes viral for adding loud kids feed to customer bills. Our Georgia restaurant is standing strong. Ooh, I like a double down on a
I'm not
policy for
surprised it's Georgia. Why am I not surprised?
for customers dining with children. Toccoa Riverside Restaurant, I hope I'm saying that right, features an adult surcharge for adults unable to parent. Oh,
Wow,
Jesus.
that's a shot. Not even that the kid is loud.
Jesus. The steakhouse recently enforced its fee when several families dined together at the Waterside location early this month. According to Today, the owner of Toccoa added a $50 fee to each bill at their table. When the
Damn.
patrons asked for an explanation, the owner, Tim Richard, said their kids were being too loud. One of the customers, Lindsay Landman, told the outlet the group, oh, dang, it's shade room. The group was made of this restaurant is fed up with y'all bringing y'all badass, loud ass kids into the restaurant. So they are, if you can't keep them kids quiet, you got to pay the price. Now, obviously we've all have been to a restaurant or two or a plane, as we discussed previously. Well, actually, I don't think we've all had that experience, but or just been in an environment where somebody's kids are acting or acting a fool and crying or being loud, and you just endure it. But apparently this restaurant has came up with a solution, quote unquote. So I guess yeah. What's y'all take on this? I mean, it's kind of similar to the last thing. Do you think this is a fair practice, or do you think this is some like you know bad business BS? Let's start with you on this time, is.
I'm actually good with this one. I can't really think of
Okay, okay.
I can't really think of a negative per se in my mind. And I mean, obviously I don't have kids, but I'm trying to put myself in the position of a parent. If I did have a kid and they were being loud, would I
You'd feel obligated to pay more for that?
no, I mean not necessarily do I feel obligated, but if I did get a loud kid bill, would I like be up in arms and riot or like yeah, they were loud and there is some probably some um monetary value that could be associated with the fact that the kid was being loud and being uh being a nuisance or whatever to other customers, experience. Um who knows, maybe people might not come back because the place has a reputation for kids being loud now. Like there is potential for that to be justifiable. At the same time, these people who bills probably aren't coming back either, so they're definitely making a bold decision in doing this. Um but yeah, overall I do think as a message, parents try to get your kids in some level of order, at least while they're out in public. Um, it's not necessarily a bad message. So I'm kind of in agreement with it.
So the thing is, while you know, in a lot of ways you are right, and I would argue you're thinking of very kind of consciously about this. I mean, I don't think we're exploiting examples, but I mean, using yourself as an example, if you went to a restaurant or you go to a restaurant that you enjoy, because of the food or because of the quality or the atmosphere or whatever the case may be, and you have an experience where a kid or a family's being a bit loud, do you think you'd be less inclined to go back there because there was an experience where there was a noise issue, quote unquote?
No, not after one experience, but I do feel like it's probably people out there who would be
Fair,
like, oh,
fair enough. I'm just thinking like because you do raise a reasonable point, and I'm sure from owner's perspective that could be on their mind. But I just wonder if a person or a family thoroughly enjoys a restaurant, if that's going to be a determining factor whether they come back or not. Like I don't know,
um,
somebody could view this as like the restaurant's just like slacking in or lacking in other ways, so they're trying to like make it seem like, oh, this is the problem. But
no,
again, that's sorry. Go ahead.
no, I was saying that could be it too.
Yeah, I'm just theory casting at this point. But what about you, Ghost? Do you think this is a fair practice, or do you think the restaurant's tweaking?
So in general, at first I was on board with the concept in general, but thinking about it more, there's multiple problems I see with it. The first thing being with what this restaurant did in particular, it sounds like they just dropped the bill on the parents kind of out of nowhere, and they weren't aware of it, and they had to pay like on the whim of the restaurant owner. Now, if it was like in a sign that was displayed in the restaurant, clearly like if if your kids are misbehaving, your kids are acting crazy, being loud, blah blah blah, and it clearly spells out that you would need there's a fee that we charge if you meet these criteria. That'd be one thing, but if it's just a spur of the moment thing and there's no warning that it's coming, then I'm not for that. And I also think that as a restaurant, like you have the responsibility of who you allow. You can have a restaurant where it's no kids allowed or what,
True.
and you have to deal with losing that income, but at the same time, you won't have to deal with kids making the noise. So if you don't set that criteria for who can and can't come in, then you can't have it both ways. Like you can't request something from your patrons while also getting their money and charging them for something they didn't know was going to be a fee in the first place. Now, if you do want to allow kids, again, it's tough because if someone has a baby, like you can't really control when their baby's crying or not. Like you can do your best, but it's not like a toddler or something where you can actually teach them and they can be well behaved or not. But
Depends on the age of the baby.
yeah, it does. And again, I don't want to. I don't think it should necessarily be spelled out like if it's a 0-month-old to a 3-month old, there's no penalty. But if there's a 3-month old to a like, I don't think it should be that clear. But there needs to be some understanding that if you're allowing kids in your establishment, particularly babies, there's going to be some potential some disruption. Now, if this was like specific for like toddler or regular kids age and it wasn't like a just a blanket, oh, they can't be misbehaving, and it wasn't clear if it was like specific, like if they're running around the restaurant, if they're screaming, if they set those standards and you're not following them and it's clearly stated beforehand, I'm for this. But otherwise,
And Cap, you bring up a very valid point. Like, what is the minimum requirement for this loud kid fee? Is it like one yell in your text? Is it got to be like
yeah,
over a
like
certain period of time?
and you could think that your kid was well behaved, but then the restaurant owner doesn't, and it's like it's kind of subjective. So that's why it's a can of worms that should be very
Yeah,
hesitant to open.
yeah, and you're absolutely right on your initial point about like it does seem like again we don't have the full article or the full series of events on that time, but it does seem like this was something that happened on that on an initial time and people were just unaware of, and then maybe they established it as like a restaurant policy. Um, but yeah, it really. I will say those kids on that first time must have been really bad and loud for them to
Like
be
I don't doubt it. Like I'm sure the kids were like awfully behaved, but if
off the
you
wall type
set
joint.
the precedent, then yeah, you gotta maintain it.
Yeah. You actually now I'm super curious. What would be the again like the minimum requirement for getting this bill? And I wonder could it be disputed?
I got a question for y'all. Well, Ace, you kind of answered it, but if you were in this scenario and your kid, let's say it's like a 2-year-old kid or something, he was misbehaving, not like too crazy, but definitely loud and acting up, and you got hit with this bill, and like you had no warning beforehand, would you pay it or would you have some questions or issues with the manager that's bringing this to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think if I felt that my kid was behaving reasonably, then I probably would. I would feel inclined to bring it to the manager, but at the same time, I never do that. Like, I
Well,
never.
I'm assuming that the manager is the one that's like walking out to your table and handing you the bill.
Well, no, it would be the wait. It would be the waiter or waitress, and then once you see
I
your
mean,
bill,
but yeah, let's
you'd
let's
have
say
you'd have to
let's
be
say
like, "Hey, can I see the manager?" You have
yeah. I
to
mean,
turn to
even
white
if we
woman.
even if we said it was as simple as the manager did decide to handle this themselves because they knew it was going to be a problem when they came out and
Oh
gave
yeah,
me the
you're right.
bill. Um, yeah, I don't know. Like, I do feel like I'd want to argue it, but at the same time, realistically, I'd probably just pay it and never come back.
Mm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm typically like Ace in the sense where I'm not typically one to go back and forth, so I'll just usually resolve it. But I'm gonna be honest, you raised the question, Ghost, and it stuck with my mind forever. What was the minimum requirements that caused this fee to be placed on me? Was it the time duration thing? Do you have a what is the device called that measures volume? Do you like
Yeah.
do
Come on,
you,
you know it was just the
Decibel
whim
level.
of the guy. Like, the
do you
guy.
have one? Do you have one of this? Is this a discretionary thing? Because you know what this is going to turn into. Oh, my kids of color were too loud, but the kids over there that were fair skinned, they were quiet, even though little Timmy was making just as much noise. Yeah,
It's like when you were
Let's
in
be
class,
real
and the
though. Let's be
teacher
real
gets
though.
mad
This
at
is
you
a
for making noise. Like, yeah,
this is
but this dude was doing being loud.
this is a restaurant in Georgia though. Let's remember that it might be a black owned restaurant.
Okay, all right, yeah. There's some factors we don't know. Hey, they could play the reverse racism card. Oh man. But yeah. I mean, I think it's like 9 times out of 10 type thing. I would just pay it. But if I truly did feel and like the other thing, it's hard to imagine for us because I feel as if we'll just inherit that instinct of like if our kids do shacked up even for a second, they'll know that there's consequences coming later, and if not in the near future. So that's also hard to like manage because this is also I have to live in a world where my kids are like bad as well, so it's kind of do the
Right.
thing.
Right.
But yeah, no, I think the majority of the time you just gotta face the bill and pay it. Take the consequences. $50 is really not that crazy to be honest, but obviously this
The
is me talking.
principle, though.
This is talking from a relatively privileged. I never had to look at a bill and think
It
too
is
much.
it is a surprisingly high amount to tack onto a bill.
Especially
Yeah, I
if
mean,
especially if you're just out
$50
with
isn't that much, but if you were expecting to pay like $50 for your
yeah.
meal,
What if the bill was 50 actually?
yeah, you get into double. Nah, that we'd have some problems. We'd have some problems.
Yeah, I guess to your question goes. It also depends on the amount of the initial bill.
I'll throw out a quick joke. These people are complaining about a bill, but they're lucky they're not on the Baratier.
First of all, that's a reference nobody's gonna know. But obviously, yeah, that's very funny. Uh, uh, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, restaurants, the restaurant business is a very precarious one. So salute to these individuals. If they can get the extra coins by putting a loud kid, a parent fee or a loud kid fee, and people are willing to pay it. Salute to them.
We had two restaurant topics, and we didn't talk about what's that brother's name? Keith Lee.
Man, I was definitely considering it since it's been a buzz, but me and two hype things.
Oh yeah, I forgot Mr. Hipster.
Oh, man, and I
Popular.
and I also don't know what's specific. I mean, I guess we could talk about it. Might come up, especially since I don't know. Did you see with Ocho Cinco's like sit on the map? Like, he just jumped all the way out the window. Like you
Wait,
can't.
what happened with Ocho Cinco?
He was basically doing his virtual podcast. With salute to all the virtual podcasts out there with Shannon, and he was vehemently against what Keith Lee is doing. He basically said you shouldn't be going around critiquing restaurants, especially our own restaurants.
That could definitely be a good topic at some point, but
Yeah, I'll go back and look at some of the videos and our responses. I don't know why. Also why I didn't instinctively think to bring this, because I don't even know why that blew up so much. Like,
I was like confused at how much I was seeing it. Like, it was kind of crazy that, like, one day, sure, but it's like literally 2-3 weeks I'm seeing this.
Yes, like one guy goes to restaurants and makes very valid criticisms, and people are I don't know. It was a bit strange to me, but yeah, I might go back and look at it. Yeah. Yeah, it is interesting. We had we had a couple topics about restaurants, but not one about the predominant restaurant topic that a lot of people have been talking about. Hold on before we move on. Let's see. So it's Andre. Personally, I wouldn't accept said bill. I'd make a scene.
Well, we'll see where the kids get it from.
Hey man, I'm with that. Hey, stand on it. That is.
Yeah, I mean, if I don't feel like it's deserved, I'll pay the bill, but I'll tell you, like, I'm not paying this, bro. You don't have to call the cops because if y'all don't tell me beforehand.
All right, now that's too much. Once they said we're gonna call cops, I'd be like, yeah, y'all tweaking. Also, Love the One Piece reference. Salute to everybody that knows the One Piece references. The One Piece is real. But yeah,
Y'all better not start dropping One Piece references now that you finally started it, Ace.
I mean that might be a sign. That might be a sign for you, Ghost.
No.
Anyway, yeah. Unless there's anything else, we can move on. Oh, my bad. Is this? Oh, man. I'm telling you. I've been thinking about. I think there's two things on this. I've been thinking about this all week. Man, this is something you just have to. This is the sports / serious topic I was thinking of. This is something you just have to kind of absorb, and you might think it's not real. There's been there's been some back and forth about the validity of it. From all the aftermath, it seemed like it is 100% real, especially when you give the context of this is an old brother. Like, I don't know why. I mean, obviously, old heads are also not. So sometimes they do fall into like wanting clout and doing very suspect things. But anyway, I'm talking around the entire matter, so let's just get into it. So I'm sure you've heard about it, but former NBA player Joe Smith confronts his wife after finding out she has a secret OnlyFans account. And she's quoted in the video, which we'll play in a second. This, my body, my effing choice. Yeah, without further ado, let's just play the original clip. You might have to scroll back a couple. I'll let you. No, go to the right.
All right.
No, I can't believe I'm sitting here just finding out you got an OnlyFans page. You couldn't even talk to me before you did it. That's bullshit, dog. That's fucked up, Keith. I'm telling you, dog, that's fucked up.
Wait, no, calm. But you're not gonna say fuck me or that's fucked up. It's not fucked up.
You recording me? What the fuck you doing?
Listen, it's not fucked up, and we're going to. Okay, look. So, I have an OnlyFans page, and he's mad because he's just now finding out about it.
Of course I'm mad at you just finding out about it.
I'm not doing it with anybody but myself, so why should I have to tell you my choice, my body, my fucking choice?
I'm your partner. You're supposed to come to me and talk to me.
Joe, I've been talking to you about mad things. I've been asking for solutions to shit. You're not giving me none, so I created one.
That's no solution. Not in my book. That's no solution.
You knew who the fuck I was when you met me.
Jesus, man.
And by that reaction, I was gonna ask if there was anything that particularly stands out to you guys. What line in the video stands out? I think it's very obvious to know. I think there's more, and I guess we'll play more just so you get a well-rounded amount of context. But that's really what this topic boils down to. If you want spoiler alerts, ladies and gentlemen, but specifically ladies, this is some game. If you want to know one of the things that you can say to a man that's gonna sting the most is, you knew who I was when you met me. That's always gonna make a man feel pain in his stomach. Well, let's hear a little bit more of the back and forth.
Before,
I knew that. Thought that I would never have to go back to anything like this again.
Beforehand,
but
no.
that's not the case right now.
After that, everything's supposed to change.
Everything did change.
No. Obviously, it hasn't.
No, it had to. I had to do something.
It hasn't. You stood out there showing your body. You stood out there doing stuff like this on camera.
You act like that's the only thing that I do. I have mad jobs, but they're not facilitating everything that needs to be done. So I got something extra. OnlyFans be breaking me off. What the fuck?
Come on, Keith, with that. It don't matter what they breaking you off. It's the disrespect that comes with it.
What disrespect?
You couldn't come and talk to me about it.
Okay, well, we're talking about it now.
Because I had to find out on the fly.
All right, then. But now, okay.
No,
so wait.
I had to find out on the fly.
I know what you may or may not be thinking, well, at least what I'm thinking. We try, to be diverse in topics, and we don't necessarily always just jump on the topics that, start making the rounds and everybody's talking about it. And especially things that involve certain level of I can't even trip over our words. This topic hurts my heart so much. Promiscuity. But I did want to get y'all input on something like this so we can squash, or at least so we can say we've addressed it at least once in our lives. I'll read a bit to give you some additional context. Although, really, I think the video says more than any words can express. Now, if you're not familiar with what's going on, former NBA star Joe Smith had a little back and forth with his wife after he found out she had a secret OnlyFans account. In a viral video that's surfacing on social media, Smith can be confronting his wife about the account, but she didn't back down from the former ball player. During the heated argument, Joe's wife can be seen recording herself on the camera saying, "I have." Yeah, thank you. "I have an OnlyFans page, and he's mad because he just found out about it. I'm not doing it with anyone else, so why should I have to tell you? My body, my effing choice." She said, "Joe, I have been talking to you about mad things. I have been asking for solutions and you have not been giving me none, so I created one." She definitely created something. During an interview with TMZ, she spoke about how she and Joe were having financial issues. Recently, she spoke to Cameron. Salute to Cameron. We're gonna get to that on his show, and she talked about the job she has. One of the jobs has caught Cam's attention. We'll get to that. She's since this altercation with her and Joe Smith, she's been kind of making the rounds. No, I'm not shaming her for that, because once you do get a little clout, you gotta of course follow it up. Doing interviews with TMZ, doing the Cameron's and Mace podcast. It is what it is. I guess you have to. I think you have to pull up the other one. Ace. I guess we'll hear a bit of her rationale in the interview she did with TMZ. I guess while we're pulling this up, I mean, what can be said about this?
I got one word: divorce.
Oh, first of all,
willy-nilly, but nah, bro. There's many reasons, but that's the one word I got.
All right. Let's just get right into it. We'll hear some more of her account afterwards. I mean, you kind of said it loud and clear, Ghost. But yeah, as you know, as a man, what are you to do if you're in this type of predicament where you find out that your significant other has a secret OnlyFans page? I guess we'll keep it in the context of, this situation, even I don't like to specifically focus on this. So, as a note, and we talked about all that before, and the other things you can do on it, but as a note, they're not doing with other people. It's a very self-contained thing, although you could argue that's always a weak argument in my opinion, because other people seeing your bodies, anyway, is what affects a man, I should say. They had a past in this. For additional context, they used to be a adult film entertainer, actress, when he met her. So this is not new to her fully. So yeah, what is a man to do in this predicament? What do you think?
I mean, for me, to be honest, the biggest issue here is not the OnlyFans. It is a big issue, but that's not the reason why I'm saying bro has got to get out. Because for one, like, the fact that she's recording him is just, it feels like a skit, or it feels fake. Like, why would you be recording this? And it's just so insensitive and disrespectful to even be recording in the first place. He obviously doesn't want it to be recorded, and she's just literally, the sole purpose is for clout. And it's kind of pathetic, for one. And that's one.
Finding out about the OnlyFans, or the OnlyFans existing?
The recording, it's by itself, no. I mean, if I had to rank it, it would be the recording, the disrespect, the OnlyFans being there in the first place, and then the fact that, like he said, like, she's hiding it from him and obviously doesn't want him to find out about it. And then it comes with that BS argument when he's, "Oh, we're talking about it now." Like, if he didn't find out about it, it never would have been talked about. So that's a BS excuse off the bat. But if you're a husband and wife, it shouldn't be like you said, my body, my choice, blah blah blah. Like, you're supposed to be making decisions together. It's not supposed to be I do what I want, and because of this reasoning and rationale, you ignore any feelings you may have in contrast to mine because of the control over this thing and that. Like, that's not how a marriage and relationship is supposed to be. So that's honestly my biggest thing. And we don't got to unpack every single thing that she said, but yeah, there's a lot of doozies in there. And like you said, that you knew who I was when you met me, like, even though it's kind of true, like, what you can't. Dog, what's wrong with you? Like, I don't know.
Dang.
Divorce, divorce.
Dang. So that's your solution? That's your diagnosis?
That's my solution. Yeah, I'm not
What
even
about
going to say that, but yeah.
what about from till death do us part?
And this is death of a relationship. Like,
I guess that
there's
doesn't
no
account.
coming back from
I
that.
guess that doesn't account for if you were
Not for
on
me, at
OF.
least.
Damn. Dang, imagine if we have to start. Oh, this is a joke. This is a joke. Disclaimer. But imagine if, as men, we have to start saying that in our vows. Dude, that do us part unless you start doing some OF, some OF shit.
I mean, it does say in the typical vow stuff about like faith, I think, right? Don't quote me on that,
I
but
don't know what they say in vows.
I know there's
Ace, you
consistency in
went to
how
Ace, you went to a wedding most recently. Maybe you can shine some
you
light.
signed stuff, right? So yeah, you would know best.
Well,
Yeah,
the way they do weddings in
it
other
was in
countries
French. Hold on.
are
It was
way different from the American vows. Let's be clear. Um, uh, yeah. Do you have anything else on the matter? Goes. I don't want.
No, that's all I got.
Gotcha. Hey, so what do you? Again, there's a lot to unpack here, like Ghost said, but really, I just asked, what is a man to do in this type of situation?
This is tough. This is tough. This was kind of depressing to watch.
We're here to talk about the tough conversations.
Yeah. I don't know, like the attitude of this woman, like that makes me lean more towards Ghost side as far as like it truly seems like divorce is the uh the move, but um and I agree like 100% that the lack of honesty is the main issue here. The lack of openness, the lack of communication about her doing this, and the fact that she's hiding it, making it obvious that she knows is something that, at the very least, he would have had um some conservation about, if not just outright say no. I really wouldn't
Like some
want you to
contention.
do this. Yeah, exactly. So it shows that she knows there would be a potential issue, and she did it anyway. Um, so yeah, but all of and you heard Ghost, so all of what he said, I'm mostly in agreement with. However, I don't know their relationship based off of this, two clips that we watched. I don't know um the type of stuff that they've been through in the past, the type of things they have been able to work through. And I can't say for sure just based on this clip that they wouldn't be able to actually, okay, now that the cat is out of the bag, not only deal with the fact that she's doing the OnlyFans,
Literally.
and yeah, and work through whether she should continue, which I highly doubt that Joe would want that, but
Continue what?
with the OnlyFans thing,
You gonna
um,
collab with her?
no,
Oh, all right. Let's everybody calm down.
um, if she should delete it, or also,
If she should.
and I should say also, um, what was I gonna say? Oh, it just the general point about her hiding things or hiding this and whatever. Like, not to say that she's hiding anything else, but in the future, if something comes up where she feels like she wants to hide it, there has to be a realization that there's no like hiding stuff like this between the two, the husband and the wife. It's supposed to be a like they're supposed to be your closest partner. They're supposed to know the most about you. This type of stuff is not like I just I feel like it's obvious that hiding things like this that are so um that can be so hurtful to the other partner. It's just like there's no way the marriage is gonna work if that's part of it, if that's what it's built on, if like it's just humble because of it. So yeah, I don't know. I'm like I said, I'm not 100% in favor of divorce based off of two clips, but these two clips did show a lot.
Yeah,
Sometimes you just know.
it's pretty egregious. I'm not gonna lie, man. I don't like the fact that I feel that I'm gonna have to play a bit of oh, if devil's advocate. And if you know me, yeah, even if you don't know me, you know that I am not with any of this promiscuity stuff. Like, maybe it's the traditionalist in me, but like this type of stuff is gross. But for the sake of content, so let's look at all because there is a lot to unpack here. Obviously, as they mentioned, she feels as if she's been asking him about, talking to him about problems that they're having and looking for solutions. But she feels as if those things weren't being delivered on, and a lot of these things, the reason why the majority of people do pursue, OF in routes like this is, because of finances. So y'all are telling me that if you're going through some financial situations and you feel as if conversations with your partner aren't necessarily, leading to solutions, that you couldn't find yourself going down like alternative routes to support the family, to support the income. Again, this is
Alternative routes. Sorry, go ahead.
this is not one to one with men because men don't usually pursue this type of option. But what if you had to do some, more like unsavory work or work that you otherwise wouldn't do? You can't. Is that unfathomable to think about?
It's not unfathomable
Again,
to
the
think about, but
OnlyFans is not the biggest issue.
it's the
like,
lack of honesty. It's
Yeah,
the lack
like-
of honesty. If you're gonna make the decision, it should be known. Like if that's what you're gonna decide, it shouldn't be. I'm going behind your back. I'm gonna do it anyway.
You're gonna-
And not tell you it's I'm doing it, and whatever comes from my decision of doing that, at least I'm gonna be open about it, and we can have the discussion of where that leaves us. But it's not supposed to be I'm doing it behind your back. Like that's the problem.
Y'all are gonna tell your significant other something that you're damn near ashamed of for yourself, that you're only doing for some cash, doing for some change.
Yes.
Yeah, you're supposed
yes.
to. That's the whole. If you're not comfortable with that, don't get married. It's that simple.
Obviously, you guys are right, but like situations are very complex, especially when you have some level of, again, these are not things to stand on, strong things to stand on, especially when you have some level of pride and we don't necessarily want to be doing this. Like, again,
I understand
this
that.
is a
Like,
person. This is a person that's been there before, and to give women some level of credit that lived that like the lifestyle, they don't necessarily want to be going back into it once they left it. They're more rational to the fact that this isn't a route, but they don't really want to go back. So you take the fact that you're ashamed of it, that you're only doing it for some change. You're not doing it out of maliciousness, and you don't intend to use that as a weapon. Is it really unfathomable that you would keep some things from your significant other?
Yes,
and to add on to that,
I
get it
don't know
can
if
be
you guys-
difficult. It can be hard to have that discussion.
Right.
But I mean, you have to do it. And if she was that ashamed, she wouldn't have recorded this whole damn conversation and posted it on the internet for everyone to discuss this.
and said my body, my choice. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
All right. That is the next. That is the next thing. So it's probably one of the weaker counterpoints. So again, and the problem with these things is there's no equality in it. So say you guys did want to do something with your body. I don't know. What do men do with their body, quote unquote? I don't know. Maybe you wanted to do some type of cosmetic surgery, or what you wanted to do something, and you truly like wanted it for yourself. Is your significant other's consideration the determining factor of it?
It should factor in.
Yeah,
I mean,
agree.
that's kind of something you have to discuss with them if they're vehemently against it, but you're for it. I'm not saying I have any solutions, but I mean, it has to be discussed.
But
But
in some shape or fashion, you do in some way agree with that sentiment of it is your body, and ultimately you have the penultimate decision making for that.
Yes, you do. The problem that we have is openness, though. Again, if the decision is going to be made and if it's really that um important to the partner, then it has kind of regardless of how they, have feel, or maybe it's not that serious. Maybe it's not regardless, but you've considered that their points and you still want to go through with it. Then you make that known, and whatever happens out of that discussion is what happens out of that discussion, but it's not based on hiding it and then the customer, I mean, sorry, customer, and then the partner finds out about it later.
Yeah, it's always gonna sting when somebody, or it always stings when somebody finds out on from somebody else, doesn't it? Um, and then what else to say? I mean, in my opinion, the main like smoking gun, like the final big bang attack, final flash attack. Um, you knew who I was when you met me. Man, those words. What do we think on that? Do you think what's that saying? Where you meet him is what's it? When you meet him is how you leave him, or it's what? I don't know. Something that the expression that relates to like how you meet a person is going to be reflective of how they carry themselves all throughout your relationship. Do you think you know it is important to have some understanding of what a person's past was like in consideration to what they potentially do or are doing now? Or do you think that once you're in a marriage or a relationship with somebody, you have to effectively cut off all the things that they don't like, that they wouldn't like about your past? I'll start with you guys.
I think it's part of I mean, it's definitely part of the considerations that need to be made when you're going into the relationship. Like, if you clearly he knew about her past, and
And it's probably attracted to her because of it. Let's be blatantly honest.
I mean, not because of her past, but because of her appearance. You're saying?
Well, I'm just saying, like, it is a very common thing for like women that are in certain fields or even adjacent to their field where they are, where they have a certain persona online where they're very provocative or something. They're selling a certain image.
Gotcha.
Guys fall in love with their eyes. So if they see like a baddie, like they're gonna want that.
Right, right.
Not understanding that I don't like the notion, but attractive women do come with certain problems. They're
Yeah,
not. That's kind of a overinflated way to say it, but certain women come with certain problems. I should say.
I understand. Yeah, yeah. I mean, my general point is it's it's something that should definitely be considered, and if you, I don't know, I feel like there's so much that you need to go into a relationship or a potential relationship um establishing, and even if it's not established at the beginning, like at the very beginning, still like over the years, like it's stuff that you should, I don't know, like discuss and make sure you're on the same page about. And like a history like hers, I think is definitely, it should definitely be like forefront of mind, or one of the thing this way, or with you in this position, um our, or my intention, goal, going into this relationship is not for you to continue this. Like, once
Hmm.
we're together, you are my wife, and um I don't want other people seeing what the person I'm married to. Like I don't want that to be a thing anymore. That
Right.
that should be something that's established.
Right. When you become exclusive with somebody, that is
Yeah,
typically a part of the unwritten rule. Like there is so a part of that exclusivity is our private selves.
right, exactly. And again, like this is if it matters to you, which I think it matters to most men, it should be something that definitely that you're considering, especially with a woman that is coming out of like a sex trade type um job or position or whatever.
Now you're absolutely right, and I would say over here we're all about having conversations. I mean, obviously, podcast to be one to be for podcast. But realistically speaking, is we do acknowledge that this type of conversation isn't something that I would say a majority of couples in relationships don't necessarily have, because I would argue this is more of one of those unspoken, unwritten rules. Just how like there's an unwritten contract that men are going to be the providers and protectors and leaders, and women are going to, uh, you know, not be promiscuous, so to speak, or not. If they do come from that past, they're going to remove it from their lifestyle. Like, I understand what you're saying, and I am in agreement that these conversations should be had. But you know that it's people. A lot of people would say it doesn't really need to be had because it's just
I don't, I
obvious.
don't, I don't, I don't agree with that statement, and I think it's a, it's a problem. Like, if you are of that mentality, then I think you are susceptible to falling into this something like this happening to you. Like, I, I don't think that anything is. I mean, I shouldn't say anything, but
Well, yeah. I mean, again, on the vice versa, you don't think it would be strange if a woman had to specifically articulate that they are looking for a leader and a provider, and all the things that a man typically provides?
I think they should articulate it. I think they should I think both parties should articulate exactly what they're looking for, so that there are no. I mean, there's going to be stuff that you know is not necessarily forefront of mind, and maybe there's gonna be things you discover and whatever over the course of a relationship. It's your whole life. Like, there's plenty of time to discover more stuff about your partner, but at the same time, like the big things that we are considering the most important about the relationships, infidelity, the person not being you know adulterous, and um what else, like we're talking about the man being the provider, um the woman taking care of the household, like that. We think about it um as being like unwritten things that should just be obvious, but I don't think that's the case. Like, I don't think anybody should go into a relationship just assuming that stuff, especially anymore.
The
Like,
thing, okay, it's good. Okay, it's important to put out an anymore type of thing, because the reason why
yeah,
people
yeah.
think that is because we have that's the system that's the like the again unwritten contract that's been built. Like, women value certain things and look for certain things, and men value things and look for certain things. And this is why we avoid some of these conversations, because that's what they always devolve into: men versus women. But I mean, it's just intersexual dynamics. It's not super controversial. It just, we don't want to spend too much time on some of these things. And there are podcasts that do it more and way better than we do. But yeah, I can understand what you're saying. Like, again, I am all for conversations, and I'm very much, as something I very much practice and promote. But I don't know if that's a general thing that people are just going to start changing, because, like, our grandparents never had to have these conversations.
Yeah,
Our
I
great
think.
grandparents, our great grandparent father never had to say, "Hey, I know you may have been talking to every." I mean, again, there was no OF back then, of course. I know we were, might have been. Were there Polaroids back then? I know you might have been, talking to every guy on the block, but now you only got to talk to me. Like, that's not a conversation that we ever had to have.
Yeah, you should know.
but I think like maybe I'm wrong about this, but I do feel like we have to acknowledge that we are in like technological progress over the years has increased exponentially. And with that, there are societal changes that have to be considered. Women do not have to um they're not like subjected to have kids um every time they have intercourse. They're not they don't have to um be, running the household. Like they can go out, they can go to college, they can get into careers and
Mm-hmm.
postpone their postpone like getting and becoming mothers, things like that. Like all of that has changed.
Yep.
The, and men don't have to go out and like fight necessarily or and hunt or things like that. Like so the man being the breadwinner is not necessarily a thing that every single household in America is going to conform to. Probably don't want that. So you going into a relationship just expecting it to be that way, like expecting the woman to think that you or expecting the woman to want you to be the breadwinner and her to want to be the the person that's primarily taking care of the house and primarily raising the children. Like maybe that's not a thing that she wants, and to find that out later in the relationship just because you assumed it, there could be problems as a result of that. So I don't think that's something you should assume, especially it being such a core part of you know how your relationship and how your family is evolve. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's not these big things should not be assumed.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. You're absolutely factually correct, and that's why I let you rock like that because I think you broke it down one of the best ways I've heard it explained in a while. Just in the sense that new age, new rules, unfortunately, or for better or for worse. Obviously there are a lot of benefits that we get in this era that that we didn't opposed to back in the day. And yeah, the reason why a lot of these conversations are happening and are our conversation, our current conversation, is because technology and society has evolved again for better or for worse in ways that the dynamics between intersexual dynamics. Be at home, there's no possibility that you'll be even promiscuous because there's no like Instagram or anything like that. These are conversations. These are things that can happen. These are conversations. So yeah, you're absolutely right. So much. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that along the lines of that point, Ghost. Um, I think there was one other thing that they mentioned that was worth getting into. Um, yeah, I can't remember. I guess real quick we can um see what they said in some of the interview. Maybe if that changes you guys' perspective on the matter at all. Interview with TMZ. Tab over videos.
This one?
Yeah.
Is
He's pretty pissed off with me. So he's been I think he's at his sister's house. He's not talking to me right now. So yeah.
Keisha, how long ago, obviously we saw in the video that Joe's saying he had no idea that you had this account. How long is the account, have you had the page?
I've had the page for at least over a year. It's on my Instagram
Ugh.
and my LinkedIn, but that's what happens
In
when
your
you don't pay
LinkedIn?
attention to your life.
What?
And
I think you meant LinkedIn.
he has decided that she wants to really put a bigger
hold on.
wedge in our
Oh,
relationship.
more
So
context.
she went digging
Dog.
around my page and was like, "Oh, do you know that she has this?" And it blew up from that. And it's no secret.
Yo.
Context alert. Context alert.
I mean, she don't look any better, but he looks worse now. So they deserve each other. That's what I'm getting out of this. If what you're saying is true.
Yeah, obviously we have to believe
The LinkedIn. I'm kind of tempted to look at her LinkedIn now to see if that's
First
actually
of all, that's crazy. But of course, we do all things for research purposes. So if you do, let me know. Anyway, I think she meant Linktree, although where you can put all your socials and your businesses and things of that nature.
Oh.
Yeah, that's wow. And by the way, the reason why I believe this is because that's, again, I'm being very fair and charitable, but just the things that we all observe, so let's not act brand new. That is a very, like, you know, let me get in between this relationship type of thing that a person would do. Oh, did you know that? Did you know that
Yeah,
she had
that's
all that? Oh, she might. I don't know. She's giving up some extra context. We'll listen to it a little bit more. We don't want to drag this on all night. Let's look at more.
Financial issues, you know, and I have always made a good life for myself, you know. Before I met Joe, I was living overseas in Europe, and I had established myself as a singer, you know, and I came back here, you know, thinking that with his persona and who he was, once we got together and I found out who he was, that it would only take off, you know, other things. But, you know, not everybody's hustle and drive are the same. And depression is a serious thing also. So, you know, I've been just like, you know,
what
supporting
does
and
that have
dealing
to
and going through his trials and tribulations with him. I've started several businesses, you know, I've been doing a lot, like, and I just figured out, like, I have a home in Cape Verde I'm trying not to lose, and a roof over here we're trying to maintain that we almost got kicked out of. So I just kicked in the drive.
I don't know if you know, and again, when we talk about these conversations, aim to have deeper. When we talk about these topics, we aim to have deeper conversations, not just surface level. Oh, he said this, she said this, back and forth type of thing. That's not us. So to anyone that does do that type of content. But just for the sake of sake, just so we have a very well-rounded idea of the dynamics here, Ghost, if you don't know, I don't expect you to know, can you look up some of Joe Smith's stats? You know, obviously, just so we can understand this brother's career a bit. You know, maybe what he might have earned, who he played for, and things of that nature.
I know that he was the reason he was drafted by the Timberwolves, and he was the one that took the under the table deal that was illegal. Well, not illegal, but basically it cost the Timberwolves 3 first-round draft picks and completely destroyed their franchise for like 20 years. And that's the reason that Kevin Garnett left, because they were never going to win anything.
See,
He was a number one. Yeah, I forgot. He was a number one pick in what draft? 95. Number one overall pick.
if anyone ever dare come out their mouth and disrespects Ghost, Ace, West, anyone, know that they're here because they come with the facts. Yeah, I didn't know some of that, and yeah, I mean, that definitely is interesting. And to translate some of what they said, not that she wasn't clear, concise. Essentially, effectively, what she's saying is, I had to establish, like, I was doing well for myself, you know, in certain endeavors. Once I got with so and so, you know, he had promised. He was a ball player, so you know, when women see a ball player or any athlete, they see, okay, this is promise. This is gonna set me up for life. But obviously, yeah, as you kind of illustrated, it goes, you know, things didn't go the best with the situation, and then we don't know what other things he might have went through in his life and his career. And there definitely came to a point in this relationship where the guy's ambition or motivation to keep their financial situation in the same level, if not exceed it, decrease, where they didn't seem as much ambitious. And when they say ambition, it's always relative to whatever the woman's ambition is, because if the woman's, again, it's all relative, it's not for everybody. If a woman's ambition is higher than the man's, this is when the woman starts to look at the situation like, damn, I gotta fend for myself, and I gotta start making, like, potentially unsavory decisions. So this is shining more light on the dynamic between them, and a very, I don't want to say very common, but a situation in which things like this could happen. So just kind of bringing more normality into the situation, if that makes sense. But again, we don't want to focus on these two individuals that much. I guess one last thing, like they said, they have a bunch of businesses. Go back over to the other tab. Like I said, she was also on Cam's podcast, or I think another version of. I think you might have two, because I don't think Mace was on this one. Go over to the other tab, and go to the first one. Yeah, I think this is the one. Tooth Cam.
Been doing besides OnlyFans and what have y'all been going through financially that you felt you had to do this?
I've had a bartending service called Cocktail Hour with Kiss since I've been here. I have a moving company called Major Movers and Cleaning. And then I also have a massage business called the Body Rub Babes.
Nice. Do the body rub babes travel?
Yes, they do.
Are you one of the body rub babes?
Well, I have been, but now I kind of like
Could you be?
to do anything.
But if I wanted you to be one of my body rub babes, like,
Oh, yeah, sure.
okay, cool. Now, because I don't mean to be unprofessional or anything like that, but I can't stop looking at your cleavage.
All right, Cam.
Dog.
Oh my God. Tequila. Hey man, well that's wild and some AO behavior. This is a woman that's still married, so keep that in context. But as you can see, this woman is, very professional. They have multiple businesses, and obviously we know that being a business owner is like one of the hardest things in the world to, manage and organize certain things. So, hey man, it all makes a bit more sense why a woman that's hustling and bustling and still kind of, I don't want to say barely, 'cause I don't know their financial situation, but as they expressed, there was a point in time where they almost like potentially lost their roof. So that that's gonna put a battery in a person's back to hey man, I gotta do whatever I can to keep this afloat. Man, there's so many more of the stories. And this is an entire podcast worth of discussion. I would say, again, Ace brought up very valid points about how, we're in different times, unfortunately, or for better or for worse. And, he shed some light on, the affairs of Joe Smith. So, he's still a legend, quote unquote? Question mark?
Yeah, he played like 15 or something seasons in the league, so that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, he's still a legend. It's a shame that a man has to find out this type of thing. But hey, man, if he starts listening to the B1 and B-Field podcast, I can assure you, you won't have these type of problems. Or maybe you'll have worse problems.
Yeah. Yo, we got a comment.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Oh, yeah, there we go. Sorry, I'm looking at the chat box now. I agree with what she said. Like how he knew who he married. You don't marry someone to change them, especially if she doesn't want to change. Do we generally agree on that, right?
I don't know. This is not necessarily something I've thought about, like in terms of somebody having a past and expecting them to change it when they're with me. Like, I've always thought, I think for the most part, I've always thought in terms of if they have an agreement that they're not going to be participating in that anymore moving forward, then I would think moving forward with that relationship is necessarily a bad idea. But maybe our commenter here, their comment should be taken into consideration. Like maybe there are certain things where if the person has a certain past, you should be more cautious about going into a relationship with them, regardless of if they say that they're willing to change.
No, I don't agree with that. It depends, first of all, on what that conversation was like. Because, he knew her history, obviously. And if it was something where he was like, you do you, we got to make money somehow. And I don't know if the discussion of like, where she said that she was actively trying to change her past and stuff like that. That's one thing, but if they discussed it together and it was something that she was supposed to be changing about herself and wanted to change about herself, and then she turns out she didn't, and then she said you knew who you married, that's when I think you can't condone it, because you can say, like, people do all sorts of shit in their past and it is what it is, but if you do things that you aren't proud of, you're supposed to want to change that. And you shouldn't have to assume if you're getting married to that person that they won't change that about themselves. And if you do, I don't know if I co-sign that whole you knew who you married thing. It really depends on what
The
what they agreed upon, I guess.
the thing is, and I mentioned this before, but to just what you're saying goes again, for better or for worse, they should be more like us. People don't. It's not a common thing to have these conversations. Like no guy is going up to their woman that they want to be with and being like, "Hey, I know you might have done X, Y, Z in the past. Listen, I hope moving forward, we can be on the same page about certain things." The reality is, people get into relationships, and there's this expectation. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. There's an expectation that if you were doing some whole shit in the past, that's dead. And I'm not. The guys don't even think about saying that. Just like women, and again, this is very. I can say that here. I keep this disclaimer into so much. I'm gonna stop doing it. I'm gonna try. And women don't expect to have to come into a situation and be like, okay, well, now that I'm with you, you're gonna have to work harder. You're gonna have to, be a leader, be a provider. You're gonna have to make sure all my wants and needs are addressed. Like, I agree conversations to be had, but they don't. And they didn't for this brother. I already know that for a fact.
It does.
I can
yeah,
see that. I can see that.
Yeah.
And then to you, Ace, I agree mostly with what you're saying, but I think maybe on like if we look on this like on a smaller level, like we're looking at stuff from aspect of the type of change you're trying to invoke on somebody is like literally the way they presented themselves or the way they might have made a living. What if it was some things where like a person comes into your life and now that you're in a relationship, they change how just what you eat, or they're trying to change what you eat. They're trying to change what time you wake up and go to bed. They're trying to change who you hang around with. Do you think you should be more inclined to change in some regards as opposed to other regards? And like, do you think every level of change in somebody's life should be a conversation, or do you think there are some things that are going to be more obvious as you sign on to a relationship?
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I mean, like I said, I don't necessarily know if I agree 100% with the comment. I think it was a good like I can understand the perspective, but at the same time, for me, I do think I lean more towards like there being a potential where you get into a relationship with somebody, but you are able to establish certain things that you do want to change, or yeah, you do want to change in the beginning, or and also over time, like you're gonna change anyway, especially if you get into a relationship with when you're young. If you're getting married when you're young, you're going to become a completely different person from when you were young in general. Like you're going to grow. You're both going to grow as people, and there is going to be certain decisions you have to make, certain compromises you have to make, certain changes that you are going to have to make in order to continue to grow together in your marriage. So yeah, I mean, I while I do understand, like it's probably just the general conversation of like there being red flags that you're just certain things that you're not gonna accept regardless of what the person says they're willing to do. And I mean, I think we can all agree like there are certain red flags that we all have that if the person participated XYZ, you're gonna be cool off trying to pursue the relationship further. So I think that is a thing, but at the same time, a person people being able to change and grow together, I think it still is something that realistically is going to happen over the course of a relationship. So you can't
Right.
really just completely right.
Right. Obviously, as two people grow and build a bond relationship, there's going to be some level of change, and that's just a general expectation that people are going to have. But I think we are, as a moral story, do promote, certain a lot of things should be a conversation, and it shouldn't be like ashamed of it because the more you're not the more, but or at least articulating it once puts it on the table to where you don't have to ever guess about anything. And obviously, there's a lot of morals of the story. Again, we could spend all night on this, but I think Cameron's sentiment has kind of distracted us from the bigger pieces of this. The unfortunate part is I don't think this will be the last interview that they go on. I think they're gonna try to promote this as much as possible, and I can assure you that their OF is up 200%. But you know,
Business probably booming.
yeah, exactly. Salute to Joel Smith. Salute to this young sister. I hope they work it out. 'Cause I don't
What if
believe
this
in
is all an elaborate scam?
because
and
I
they
don't believe in
just up?
divorce. It could be. Although again, this is an OG. I mean, he really knows what TikTok
Hey,
is.
money's been tight apparently, so I don't know.
Hey man, unless he's the in early stages of dementia, I don't know. He would be so quick because it doesn't make him look good. And anyway, but you know, people will do some strange for some change. If there's nothing else, let's move on. I think we have two more, and I don't think it'll take too long, but we'll see.
Can we take a brief pause? I know this is unprofessional. I just need like a minute.
Yeah,
All right.
we do it live. What do you listen?
Yeah, I don't know why I feel. Oh yeah, this definitely happens on Twitch. I don't know why I'm thinking it doesn't.
Bro, I'll even switch to the background. A
Yeah,
few
we'll
good
be right.
men.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to be right back. Let me whip that up right now. Actually,
All right. I'm gonna
The hold music on.
elevator music. Where's the text box? BRB, and we want just be right back. Is this gonna be black? No, it's not. How do I make it black? Font, select font. Where's the color? Font color. Damn it. Come on, OBS. Dang. I guess I just make an underline. The thing is, I've done this before, so I don't know why I can't figure it out. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, I especially don't feel bad about this because this will all be edited out in the final. Well, not in this, but in the shorter videos.
All right, I'm back.
Why don't we have what quality assurance on this podcast?
What do you mean?
What is on that damn screen?
What are you talking about?
I am sorry to the audience.
I'll pull up the wrong topic.
Look at the screen that the viewers would see
Hold up.
on the YouTube.
Uh-oh.
Let's see. I got it.
Oh my pause. What? Put your phone.
What's going on?
I still see the BRB.
What? Oh, is that what you see?
Yeah.
Wait,
Okay.
what's this image that you got? Is that? Oh, I thought that was like Brett Favre or something. Well, where'd you get that picture from? What is that?
It's so hilarious, dude. I don't even want to know. It's just so good.
I like the fact you're focused on the image and not what it says.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Yikes.
Y'all just had me saying that right the whole time.
Yikes. That's on you, bro. This is a simple thing.
Again, in any engineering organization, you don't just have the engineers, you have the quality engineers and the quality assurance.
picture, to be
Damn,
honest.
apparently
Like,
you ain't a good engineer.
I would have noticed if the picture wasn't so hilarious.
I apologize. Anyway, let's just get right back into it. And
You shouldn't even say anything because I don't think anyone even noticed. Too late.
yeah, let's just say that nobody noticed.
We should keep it like that. It'll be like a running gag.
Yeah.
Right back.
Listen, I know we're the grassroots sloppy podcast, but no. Anyway, let's get back to business. Okay. WTF. Abby Lee Miller faces backlash for saying she's still attracted to quote-unquote high school football players. Now, a lot of things some people say to get taken out of context. So let's just dive right into the video and let's see if maybe this sister, actually meant, just in theory or, and need more context. Spoiler, it doesn't.
All the Right Moves.
No.
That's the best movie ever.
With him in it?
Oh my God, yes, All the Right Moves. He's a high school football player. Oh my God.
Ooh.
That's my downfall. I like the high school football players. I still like them.
I like the coaches.
Not one that used to be in high school, but one that is. Yes.
Okay.
Wow.
Bro, come on.
She had to completely dig the grave.
Come on, bro.
She hopped in, like,
You didn't even have to do all that.
just to make sure you know.
Amen.
I was gonna cut her so much slack. Come on now.
So, Abby Lee Miller has come under fire once again. Seems like the ever-recurring theme of this. Not over a resurfaced clip from her Dance Mom days, but after making a very strange revelation during an appearance on Sophia's What with the F podcast. She seemingly quote unquote, admitted her attraction to high school football players. The two were in the middle of talking about Tom Cruise when Miller asked Franklin if she'd seen Tom Cruise's 1983 film All the Right Moves, which featured him as a high school football player. So yeah, like I said, usually, sometimes, you'll hear something that somebody said something and, they didn't mean it in context, so they were just joking. And, there was some level of humor here. But, I mean, they definitely doubled down at the end. So, again, you knew exactly what they were talking about. So, yeah, I mean, simply put, again, maybe this doesn't require too much of a deep dive. What do we think on this omission? Do you think the cancellation is warranted, or do you think obviously the elephant in the room is this is a clear double standard, because while they are receiving some level of backlash, if a guy had said this, they would be probably in jail. So yeah, do we think it's more lighthearted or less of an issue when women say it, or should they get the full extent of the uh, court of public opinion law? I don't know. What do you think, Ghost?
All right, well, I'm about to be devil's advocate here. First off, I think what you said isn't correct because
What did I say? It's not. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
if we don't gotta get deep into this, but if we're being very honest, a lot of uh, a lot of dudes from young age to old ass men will actively catcall and try to flirt and very visibly and loudly proclaim their attraction to women that are much younger or and slash or underage. So it's kind of shifting now where it's becoming less acceptable, but it's still very much a thing. And it's been a thing for years on years. So I think
Hold
going
on.
back to what she said.
Hold on. I didn't say that guys don't make these type of comments, but you gotta look at the context. This is a woman saying this on a public. I mean, I don't know
Okay,
what.
yeah,
I don't know what Sophia Franklin podcast does, but I can. This is no This is no be one to be filled. Like, and we would
Yeah,
never, and we wouldn't even say nothing that
yeah,
nonsensical.
I see what you're saying because if a dude said this on like an established podcast, yeah, there'd be backlash. I was thinking more so if a dude just said this in general, like just
Yeah,
talking.
if you go on the streets of Brooklyn, Boston, Miami, LA, yeah, if you're a high school girl, a guy's gonna say something to you. I'm not saying that doesn't exist.
Okay, I got you. So going back to what she said, I mean, it's obviously fucked up. Even if you feel this way, which saying it and feeling that way about current high schools when she's like six. Oh, okay, I don't want to say that. When she's
Let's get
a
that.
middle-aged woman is
58.
Thank you.
damn. I was close. Shoot, is just completely wild and
I
out
mean,
of
she looks every
pocket.
bit of it.
Damn, bro, ain't gonna cut her a little slack, but I don't know. It's like you can like if we're being frank, in general, humans are attracted to people of the younger ages from I don't want to say high school, but anything mid 20s and below is considered the most attractive in general, biologically. But you don't go out and like say something like this because even if you do feel attractive, you think that person's good looking, like nothing's gonna happen. They're in high school, as she made sure to clarify. Currently in high school, you're a old ass woman. Like, and I think it comes off even worse because she worked with a lot of kids, both little kids, little girls and little boys, and not trying to say anything crazy about her, but it's just not a good look at all. Really is not.
Fair enough. Fair enough. What about you, Ace? Do you think a double standard exists, and this is not the worst? This is not really that bad, or you think the cancellation, or at least the very least backlash is warranted?
Um, Double standard definitely exists. Women compared to men in the court of public opinion.
True.
However, I know for certain that's shifting in the court of public opinion, and I mean it's clear that's why the podcast host kind of almost gave her the opportunity to um dig herself out the grave.
Yeah, she gave her an out.
Yeah. Um, laughed nervously. Like she knew there was going to be a problem. The podcast host knew there was going to be a problem. So I think mostly this is just an age thing. And Abby Lee, well, the fact that she doubled down, it's almost like she knew it was a problem too, but wanted to make it clear that she still feels this way. But maybe not. Like maybe she just truly does not realize that public opinion is changing about, you know, older women being expressing their attraction um boy, or I don't want to say young men, um is not socially acceptable anymore. Like, definitely not something you shout out about on a podcast.
Do you truly think it's changed in so much that this is that big of a deal? Like, I
I think it.
mean, go ahead.
I think it's changing. Like, it's the double standard is still there, but it is
Mm,
definitely changing. It is definitely something I've seen talked about more and more in recent years. So it's
gotcha.
something you don't want to put your foot in your mouth about right now. Like, definitely.
Got you. Yeah, man. Like I said, there's not too much. Sometimes we can just have a quick little, this is what's happened. What do y'all think about it? And yeah, I usually do appreciate a good double down. I like when people stand on their words, and even when it's obviously not the, politically correct or even correct thing to be saying. But obviously this is some wild stuff. Like, like no, like nobody in the comments is agree with. Like they're not giving, like nobody's giving them even an ounce of grace. So for all the older women, all the older sisters out there, um, this ain't back in the day. You're not. No one's saying you're being held to the same level standard as a guy, but if you were, giving off any like pedophile vibes, you are gonna get every ounce of backlash that's imaginable. Jesus. I don't want to say some of these comments, but Abby B, aren't you like a century old? That's just nasty. Oh man. Um. Damn. There's a couple questions I could ask. I don't think this will be the last time we have conversations about like older women having attraction to younger males and the implications of that. Because there is the conversation about how one of the stark differences is men are more, especially younger men, are way more receptive to that kind of attention, which is also, again, I don't want to get out of that. I'm not getting, I'm not saying nothing. I'm just, I'm not getting to that right now. But anyway, it's all young athletes there. Be careful for predators. There's nothing else. We can move on to the next. I think last joint. I think. Ah, yes. In the second half, we're definitely hitting all the sports related joints. And from talking about high school football players to football legends. Dallas Cowboy legend Michael Irvin calls rapper son a poser. Says you grew up in a gay community your whole life. So that's another thing where it's better to just hear what the brother said. But I guess I'll give us a little bit of context. So former Dallas Cowboys player Michael Irvin exposed his rapper son by calling him a poser on the latest episode of Skip Bayless Undisputed. The Dallas Cowboy legend and Hall of Fame wide receiver spoke about controversial NBA player John Morant, who's seemingly been wasting away his talent by getting back into back-to-back legal trouble with guns. Did he get into legal trouble? I think it was just an NBA trouble. And slapping the face of those who have believed and supported him to the NBA. So let's hear what he had to say. A little bit what he had to say.
Some of the people that have helped you get to these places, it's hard to say, man, I appreciate all the work and all the things that you've done when we've had nothing and you've helped. But I got to continue to move and go forward and try to do things the right way. And sometimes that means you don't got to cut people off, but you got to distance yourself a little bit. You can't be with people all the time and running around. I got a son. He raps. His rap name is Tut Tarantino. If you ever listen to some of his raps, I'm like, oh my God, where does this come from, son? You grew up in a gated community your whole life, but he's rapping my life because we romanticize and fantasize about that old thug life, ghetto life, and all of that stuff. When we used to work to get away from it, now we've gotten to a place somehow we're running back towards it. In the music.
Now, I guess echo. Anyway, now I know what you might be thinking. Actually, sorry, I be ahead of myself. You can play them a bit more, just a little bit more of it.
music and everything. You know, in the days I was coming up, all of those guys that you see, the John Morant's, them hanging around, those guys were still around us, Key. But it was, they were like, get out of here. Stop doing this. You got a chance to make it out of here the right way. So those guys would try to tell you to stop being in these neighborhoods. Stop hanging out. Go do what you have to do. It's not like that now. The guys are more hanging on and want to go with guys, and you're tearing up careers. I mean, we got to be good enough in the neighborhood to know when God has touched somebody with that gift that time is talking about, and be good enough to say, hey, man, you shouldn't be around here. You shouldn't be doing things. You got a chance to do it the right way and change a lot of lives and help out our people. And we got to be strong enough to do that.
All right. So I know what you might be thinking. Okay, so this is a brother, a very successful legend, Hall of Fame, wall to wall legend. And he's talking about his son, but it can't be that bad. Oh, so Tali went a lot. They actually show some. We actually get a little taste of what the young brothers rapping. Like, go to the third. It's either the third or like second to last. Keep going. The third to last or the second to last, I should have said. Yes. Okay, let's get a little taste of it.
Let's talk about when I was 21. See that when the pandemic hit. I ain't tryna not no host fun. Cause pussy ain't gon' get me rich. And when I started scamming, dropping lows, got me dancing. 40,000 quits, tryna do the most, I'm doing damage. I'm 24 right now on house arrest, but I'm in a mansion. Ain't got no fight right now, but easy money, red gon' fan shit. I don't be going out, so niggas see me out, they panic. Move on, get knocked out.
All right. Actually, let's hear more. Just so y'all know. Go on to the next one.
Bitch, I'm getting loose. Jim made a deal, swerve up in the coupe. Smoking that kill, shit came from the west. He busting down guards, rolling a booth. My bitch on board, she acting a fool. Yeah, I'm on pills, I'm keeping my cool. I don't do deals, gotta pay me in full. Close to a meal, I will never get full. When I touch me a meal, I'm still gonna be hungry. Still in the street, still making that money. I don't want depth, these niggas talk funny. No, I can't hear shit, just on the cup, I'm the new.
So, just like Michael Irvin was saying, I guess the first one is a question. Does this sound like the lifestyle of the life and times of one who grew up in a gated community, probably went to private schools, was afforded all the luxuries and amenities that one could ever imagine? What do y'all think?
Yeah, obviously these raps don't sound.
Yeah, it's very much so, and obviously, that's why Michael Irvin was speaking from, like, a place of like how did we get here to where people that are past that point in life, you feel compelled to speak on things like it. So and we've talked about authenticity in hip hop before. I seem to remember. This is why I'm interested to hear you guys' thoughts on this. But do you think that knowing a person's lifestyle isn't indicative of their bars or their music? Does it take away from anything? In your opinion? I'll start with you, Ace.
You know it. Prime example. Why can't I think of his name now? TVs.
Who?
My homie riding the ATV.
The ATV? Meek, you're not talking about Meek, no.
Meek. But no, I'm kind of joking. Yeah, to some extent, like knowing somebody's lifestyle, can affect my opinion of their artistry, or them as an artist. But the thing I consider is if the person is open about their like rapping or whatever being from the point of a persona, then I'm much more open to, if not, I completely, if they're open about it being a persona. If they're not and they're trying to portray something that they're not, I think that's where the issue is.
Well, I mean, I think with hip hop, you're rarely ever getting somebody that's doing a gag because hip hop is something where you have to really feel it and you have to be like, yeah, this is like this is inspiring me to maybe how I live my life or how I could potentially be living my life.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, is it common
I mean,
for
listen,
somebody to
I
is it
mean, listen.
common for somebody to say that they're portraying a persona? No, not in hip hop. I will admit that.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I I well, I don't know. I don't think that negates my point per se. Like I still I still view it from that perspective.
Hmm. Fair enough. Fair enough. What about you, Ghost? Do you think it's like a bad look to rap about things that you've never experienced or went through? Do you think it makes the rapper or the artist look bad, or is it all about the quality of the music for you?
Um, it it depends. It in general, I'd say it doesn't impact me one way or the other. It depends for one what you're rapping about and the type of rapper that you are. Like a dude like this, like it kind of boils down to the reason that I'm listening to it. If it's just like shit to get turned to, then like this isn't someone I would listen to. But I'm not listening to his music for like the lyrical content. Like it's more about the vibes and all that. So if he's not really about what he's saying, then I don't really care. But if it was someone like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a good example. Like if
Like
Kendrick, for
Nas.
example, if Kendrick or yeah, Nas is another good one. Like if it came out that they were just completely lying about their entire experience and they grew up very well off and they just making shit up, it would make me look at them
Which
crazy
all
because
artists to some extent do embellish or put a little sauce on it, obviously.
yeah, which is yeah, that's understandable. But like if it's not even close to the real truth and they're just making up complete
Except
lies.
50 Cent, he really got shot that many times. Sorry.
Amen. But yeah, it's if I'm listening to them for the lyrical content and they're just straight up lying, like and they're telling stories and I don't know, it's if it impacts the way that I look at their music, then I would care. But someone like this, like if I found out if I've like 21 side is a good example. I found out 21. I mean, there was already that whole thing about him
Mm,
from the UK, which is
just
hilarious.
because
But
just because 21's original origin story was unbeknownst to us doesn't mean he doesn't live or
yeah,
lived
I'm not
somewhere.
saying that. I'm sure he did. Well, maybe he did. But if it came out that he was lying about everything he said, I wouldn't really care because for him, like he has a lot of crazy lines, but I'm not really listening to him for like authenticity's sake. It's just or I don't know why I listen to 21 to be honest. But
Because it's good music. Don't slander 21. I got one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight.
yeah,
Sorry. Um,
this doesn't need to be the 21 slander pod, but
do
yeah,
you do you do you think? Cause you, I mean, we're all speaking on a more personal level. Do you think that in hip hop, authenticity is like a highly valued and important thing?
I think it is in general for hip hop. It doesn't matter to me because like when I listen to hip hop, it doesn't impact like what people are rapping about doesn't impact me in any way where I'll take inspiration from what they're talking about. Like it doesn't impact me at all. So for other people it might, but that's why I really don't care either way what someone's rapping about if they're really about it because I'm not going to be doing it. and it's really it depends on the artist, but at a base level, it's about the music itself. And if it sounds good, then authenticity comes second. But there are caveats that if it's an artist that I do really like and they're just lying about everything, then I'm going to look at them different. It would impact me, but it's hard to qualify exactly why I feel the way I do. It's just
which is fine. Sometimes we're just here to kind of get off our views and not necessarily have a whole deep dive explanation for it. What was I gonna say? So there's also another aspect of there. Go back a couple of tabs over. He was doing a podcast, Michael Irvin, that is. That one. Go back over one more. Is that the first one that starts? Yeah, I think so. And again, he just expressed, because this is he spoke on this before. I think this podcast was from maybe even a few years ago. So this is nothing new, but I think it's worth pointing this out because he's gonna repeat a lot of the sentiment, but I think it's worth hearing this perspective as well. Go ahead, and it'll kind of feed into one of my follow-up questions.
Black and hard. They think I listen to all the hard stuff.
But you don't listen to rap?
I do. My son raps. His name is Tut Tarantino.
He keeps bringing
Wait,
it up.
what?
My son, right?
What's his name?
He raps under Tut Tarantino. His real name is Eli. Go on iTunes and listen to him. He raps about some of the hardest stuff in the world. And I say to him, son, you grew up in a 20,000 square foot gated community home. How can you rap this stuff? Where does this stuff come from? You know what I mean?
Your son is using your childhood to rap about.
Oh my God, right. I worked hard to get you out of this, and you rapping right back to it. What is going on? It blows my mind, man. I'm telling you, if you listen, you'll be like,
you can't rap about a private education.
Is he going on an interview circuit or something? Like, what the?
Again, this it was. Oh, actually, not again, but yeah, this is to showcase. This is something he's spoken on before. This is not news. But there's also an element of like, what do we think of this? Because on one hand, he is an OG, and OGs are very inclined to just speak their mind, for better or for worse. But do y'all think that to some level it's kind of like disrespectful to your child or your family to be speaking in this manner? When you're kind of like, well, one, you're blowing away the smoke and mirrors, but you're kind of insulting them, even though you have a valid criticism. The criticism is somewhat valid. I'll start with you, Ghost. What do you think?
I don't know. It comes off a little strange to me. Like, I get his sentiment and I get where he's coming from, but it feels like something that you should say directly to him versus on podcasts and on.
Sounds like he has.
Say it again.
Sounds like he has.
Yeah, he probably has, but it just seems a little bizarre to just keep going on different platforms and talking about it. But I don't know. I'm not gonna knock him for it. Strange. Maybe he's trying to knock some sense into him, and his way of doing that is putting him on blast in front of the entire world and hoping that it wakes him up. But it's a little weird. I don't have a huge problem with it, I guess, if it's coming from a positive place.
Do you think that would work for a young, like, hard-headed, like, kid that's trying to rap and trying to like portray a certain lifestyle?
Who's to say, to be honest? Like, I don't think so, if I'm being real, but who knows? It's probably not while you're young and while you're in it. Maybe he's just, it comes off to me like it's less so he's trying to knock some sense into him, more so like he's just kind of venting, like how you vent to family members and stuff like that about, oh, my kid was doing this and that, and y'all already know how that goes, and they be isn't all that, telling your aunts and your uncles. But if he's
parents
doing
love to tell other people y'all business.
Yeah, and he's just doing it on a grander scale. And again, I'm not here to talk about his intents or what his end goal is, but that's just the vibe that I got from these two clips.
Hmm. What about you, Ace? Do you think it comes off kind of like what you're also describing as like almost like a bad look to be like, basically like clowning on your son? Um, or you think this is the type of treatment that it kind of it's kind of warranted based off the fact that the son's rapping about a lifestyle that they've never known?
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't really seem like big of a deal to me. I don't think like the son is gonna. It doesn't really seem like something done at all. Just Pops could be talking about this to however many old timers he wants. If the son has friends that are in music, which probably
Well,
does, and they probably don't care about his.
if he's talking about it on like literal undisputed live television, it's not just a bunch of fun of old timers.
True, but I mean, as far as like getting the opinions of the people in the room, like they're not. It's not like just young people agreeing with him. It's he's in an echo chamber basically. He's not getting the
Mm,
opinion of other young kids and swaying their opinions one way or another. I don't.
got you, got you. Well, let me ask y'all this. Say you had, I mean, again, it's kind of hard to imagine. Say you had a son, or I guess like a friend, who was, again, putting out a portrayal, one that's completely, like not reflective of the lifestyle that they usually live. Would you feel comfortable going on a platform and effectively outing them and being like they're being a poser?
Because like if it's a friend compared to a parent.
Say it's like a younger friend.
Wait, what?
Say it's like a younger friend, like somebody that is like a younger family friend, somebody that you watched grow up, but it's not they're not like the same age as you. They're not in the same they're not exactly in the same experience realm as you.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, if it's a friend, just in general, I think the relationship of a friend that does feel a little bit weirder. It feels a little bit like a betrayal, kind of, with a friend for some reason. In
You
my
can't
mind,
you can't betray your child.
yeah, that's. I mean, that's to be saying it and outing it, and it's probably because of the perception that Ghost was talking about and you were talking about. We were used to our parents doing this, like talking to XYZ aunts and uncles, telling them all our business. So regardless, it doesn't necessarily like I don't hold anything against my parents for doing that now. And I I see this in the same way. But if it's a friend, that feels different.
Mm. Fair enough. What about you, Ghost? Would you feel a way about effectively exposing and calling a younger friend or a child, if you can imagine that, out like this?
I mean, would I do it? No, that's just not how I operate in general. Uh, Weirdly enough, if it happened to me, like when I was younger, like I don't know, I'd probably be annoyed, but I wouldn't feel like uh, too serious about it because we had that experience,
Yeah.
especially growing up in the church where everything gets circled around to everyone and embellished and all that. But I don't know. I don't see myself doing this if I was on the other side.
Hmm. It's kind of interesting. You're in one vein, you don't see it as big of a thing because of some of the experiences that you may have had or that we may have had, but you wouldn't keep on with this quote unquote tradition.
Yeah,
It's
because
almost as if you acknowledge that there's some things that are maybe not too comfortable with it.
well, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's a good thing to have be doing this in general. I'm just saying for me because the way I like, I don't talk, I don't talk about my own issues with people in general. I'm not one much for talking in any circumstance. Especially, I'm not one to talk about other people if I'm trying to help them or in a situation or trying to, I don't know, if I'm dealing with something that's related to them, I'm not likely to talk about it with other people. If it's
TLDR, you're a very mind your own business type of guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's different. You can't exactly mind your own business when it's a kid, but
Yeah.
there's a difference between that and talking to other people about it and talking about their issues. And I just don't, myself, I don't see myself doing that. It's just
I got
the
you.
way I am.
Yeah, one thing I would just, add to this, I don't know how much it was mentioned, but I think one thing that we do, and again, I think we have similar sentiments about how this, it's kind of like, we wouldn't do it, or it does look kind of a way when you think about it. But I think to a certain extent, even if I feel like similar, like I probably wouldn't do it, I think Michael Irvin deserves a certain level of praise. And this reminds me of another thing that's been floating around. I probably should have got it for the context. I thought I did save it. So there was this another young rapper, but and they were pretty much rapping the same stuff, like the same type of street gangster lifestyle hip hop that we've come to know and or love. Dope, but again, when you look at it from a broader perspective, people were saying, why are anybody supporting this or allowing this to happen? Again, if I probably could find it in a couple seconds if I did, but be imaginative for a second. So yeah, like I said, there was this kid that was rapping some very street stuff. They started to get a little traction because we could argue they were skills for their age, whatever the case may be. So one of the individuals that were around when the little kid did the little music video came out and said, effectively, like, people are hating on it, which is everybody's favorite line. But that's giving that kid an opportunity to potentially, like, get out of his situation one day. Whenever people in the hip hop or black and brown communities getting any level of backlash, that's always typically the response. Like, you're just hating on me. You don't want to see me reach success, and But I say all this to say, no matter what side of the coin you stand on, or what side of history you stand on with that type of argument, one thing that we do need to acknowledge is that this is a parent that's wholly, like, invested in the future of his child, and that wants to see his child the best for their child, like any good parent would. I mean, that's why we strive to create better life for ourselves and our future generations. So so while this may look like some embarrassment or some, like, unnecessary chastising, I think really what this really does boil down to is he's just trying to make it clear that, hey, you got to put in perspective that he's relating it to the John Morant situations where, hey, it's okay. Like, we don't have to, like, revert back to lifestyles that we've never known that may seem cool from a distance when we've been afforded, luxury, not luxury, but better lifestyles. I think if we promote that more, along with actually doing the work, so future generations are allowed to live those lifestyles, I think that's where we'll start to see some level of change in our culture and our community. Because again, we all love hip hop, but it's not fun when, like, the results of, like, the stuff that's being talked about in hip hop happen. Then everybody's talking about, oh, how could this happen? Hey, we need to do better for our communities. We need to work on generational wealth and all that. That's when those conversations come in. When they could come in the beginning, like what this brother's doing.
I mean, is this the beginning though? Like, the dude is already grown.
Okay, maybe not the beginning, maybe the middle. The middle. There's no permanent damage has been done as what I consider, like, the end and the beginning, middle, and whatever.
Gotcha.
So I say salute to Michael Irvin. Yeah, I can tell this is a father it's a father. It's a father's father.
Yeah, I guess I'm a little bit more pessimistic about this changing because regardless, like, the music is whatever people are into actually consuming is what people are going to gravitate to making at the end of the day to become popular.
Would you,
So
although we should never use ourselves as examples, would you say that's reflective of your life, huh? When you're growing up?
no, but we're definitely the anomalies. We're 1,000% the anomaly.
I just say that to say it's not impossible.
True, but again, like culturally as a whole, things didn't get better because of my little experience. Like,
Okay, but you take your experience, you pass it down to your child, so on and so forth. That's how. We're not saying it's gonna happen overnight. I'm just saying it can happen.
gotcha. Yeah.
But yeah, but also in the same vein, maybe this could also be the start of promoting like gag hip hop, and maybe there's a space for that. I think when people think of not authentic hip hop, we think of like 6ix9ine, but that even resulted in real life consequences. So I don't know if gag hip hop can work in our current state. And that
What do you
also,
mean by gag?
sorry, gag's not the right way. I don't want to say fake, just like hip hop that's not based off your real life.
Yeah, people putting on personas like
Chat GPT hip hop.
No,
Well,
I
you
think
can call it whatever you
it.
want.
I think it is an underrated. Maybe not underrated, but it hasn't been explored enough. I think if people admittedly put on a persona and said, "Yo, obviously I didn't live this, but um, I'm portraying a character, and that's what it is." Like, but they're still rapping, especially if they can rap well. Like, I think there's a lot of potential there.
I agree in the sense that I think it can exist one day, but we do have to acknowledge that hip hop is in black and brown culture, for better or for worse, has been as established or built upon some level of authenticity. So we're so much in so like if you like rappers literally like rap about like other rappers being unauthentic, like y'all N-words didn't live through this, like y'all not as real as me. Like being real is like a thing in hip hop.
Yeah, and the personas have been more underground.
Yeah, exactly.
I still. That's
I'm
what I
with,
place more faith in than anything. Like,
I'm with you.
making
I think
like
I
that.
think it could exist. I could consume that type of music, but it's as a whole, like we're saying, that's another thing that would take probably a while to be fully initiated into the culture.
I think it. I don't want to keep going with it, but I also think with the rise of so many people who have not experienced the like the culture that rap was actually built upon, it's almost going to become necessary that people are vocal about this is not something I lived, but I'm just rapping to almost like to the contribute to the established form, and maybe that's where personas will arise out of, because there's so many people that truly, like, come on, everybody couldn't be living all the stuff that they're rapping about.
No, that's where you're a bit off. There's not a rise of people that don't come from this lifestyle. Even to this day, if somebody's rapping about a lifestyle, like 99 point of times that whatever they come from it. Again, I'm not saying a lot of artists don't embellish or put some sauce on it, but again, you name a rapper, they've experienced some stuff in their lifetime.
Maybe I shouldn't have said that rapping, but the people that are consuming rap, like with the popularity that rap has gotten, there's a much bigger crowd of people that are going to come out of it and try to start rapping that have not experienced the things that rap is predominantly the subject matter is.
I don't know if there's a rise of an influx of rappers. That might be something that we could go back and forth on. I don't think that's necessarily true either. I think there's always been a certain level of people that want to get into music or want to get into hip hop and cream rise to the crop, so to speak.
Yeah, I'm talking in terms of popularity itself, not necessarily that there's an influx of rappers now, but with the level of popularity, there's going to be more people that want to get into it that aren't from that background.
You know what? I can see where you're right, and we will wrap this up soon. I think as hip hop becomes more international, because hip hop, for better or for worse, in black and brown culture is an American thing. Obviously, you can have street life, salute to Tupac, thug life type of cultures in any community, but it's a kind of specific thing that we talk about. So if you start branching out into other communities, the UK, I'm looking at you. Y'all don't have any of the artillery that y'all be rapping about. That's where you could maybe start to see it, but again, I think it's pretty like hip hop is quote unquote continuing to get big, even though this year in particular that wasn't the case. But it doesn't push more people to rap that don't experience the lifestyle. That just hasn't occurred thus far. But all the same, again, so it's Michael Irvin. Yeah, there's nothing else we can wrap up. I think that's the last topic. So I guess with that, before we close out the podcast, is there anything else that we missed or anything that anyone wants to get off their heart or their chest? Oops, that's not what I want to do. We actually do have a couple of rest in powers, unfortunately. Oh, man, there's some stuff that's so heavy. I don't even know if I want to bring it up. Well, I guess first and foremost, this happened better half of last week, but obviously we didn't get to acknowledge it. So, rest in power to Matthew Perry, super legend and iconic actor, passed away at 54. Yeah, truly tragic. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, whenever somebody passes away that has that level of fame in the world of entertainment, we always say this is just like way too young. And I've seen some sources that cited how they passed, but I didn't see anything superficial. So I'm just gonna leave it at salute to them, salute to their impact, and yeah, I did see that the cast of Friends made like a statement, just sending their condolences, and I think I don't know if it's great that a person tied to a single thing of legacy, but I think it is dope that everybody came together to commemorate their life. I think it's dope when you have a cast or a group around you that is gonna hold you down and salute you and celebrate you no matter what.
Yep. Shout out, man. I was actually a Friends fan, so familiar with his work.
Yeah, and I mean, Friends fan or not, I mean, it's literally one of the most iconic, might be the most iconic. Man, Fresh Prince is up there, sitcom of all time, so you can't ignore that. Man, more super sad news. Just a quick condolence to all the people that were affected by, that mass act of violence that happened in Maine. Man, stuff happens so like quickly and suddenly. Like again, desensitized and being desensitized to these type of things is very real. But again, you have upwards of 20 plus families that were impacted by that. So super condolences to that. And yeah, all we can do is not to be pessimistic, we'll continue to acknowledge that living in the type of environment and country that we do, these things are a possibility, but also continue to do what we can to prevent them. And I'm not gonna cap. There was one other thing that I wanted to report on, but I'll save that for another time. Maybe when they like fully, when the story is fully resolved. I'll just say, if you know about this unfortunate incident that happened in Brooklyn that resulted in the passing or literally killing of a father and a stepdad and his son. Yeah, I'll come back with that when there's more news on that, because I don't know if it's fully concluded. But there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the world. There's a lot going on, Sultavik Mensa, and I just hope that everyone has some level of way of, not coping. Coping isn't the right word. Don't let the things that happen in this world impact you too much. Make sure that you have, some level of sensibility. You have a quote unquote good head on your shoulders. So and also make sure you're not consuming too much negative news, or at least in relation to your life. Because obviously, if you're like a news anchor, it's your little job to report on negative news, unfortunately. But aside from the negative things in life, let's talk about positive things, i.e., things that we're looking forward to. You know what they have? You know what they say about having something to look forward to?
That new anime on Netflix. I don't know if y'all heard of it. It's called Pluto. It's apparently some basically sci-fi anime, sci-fi oriented. I watched 15 seconds of the trailer. I don't need to say any more. It looks amazing, and I'm probably going to be watching that this week. So, looking forward to that.
Nice. No, I'm not even hip. But I'll definitely tap in and check it out.
Yeah, I've heard good thing. I guess it comes from or is part of the
Part of the what?
Astro.
Astro Wars? Oh, you're talking about the show he's talking about.
Yeah, Astro Boy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's by the same author. Well, the original manga was by that same author. I don't know if
Gotcha.
he has any involvement, but yep. Very much looking forward to that.
For me, I'm gonna be taking a trip to Florida.
Your thing is cutting out nasty.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, we're almost done. Try to hold out.
Yeah, that's close a couple more windows here. Still cutting.
All right, yeah, that's good.
All right. Yeah, real quick. I'm taking a trip to see family.
All right, your bike cut out again, but
to translate, he says he's taking a trip to Florida, I believe.
Okay, got you.
To see family, which is always dope. I hope you have a dope time. And I think you already mentioned, but let us know when specifically, because it's going to impact podcasting, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
And then for me...
it won't. Sorry.
Oh, it's like during the week?
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I'm sure you'll come back with we need to have another segment, like travel stories. It's like when I went on my little travel thing, and I came back with the fact that I hate travel. I'm just joking. Well, somewhat joking. Anyway, and as for me, once we get to the latter ones, specifically the last 2 months, the thing that I definitely look forward to, if you work in the engineering field, I guess specifically now that I'm starting to realize this more, if you work in engineering / DoD or government related field, at the end of the year, things tend to shut down. People tend to take their long vacations, and effectively, the end of the year is like one big long weekend. A weekend that you started on the Friday, so even on Fridays you don't really worry too much. There is like a first initial push to get a bunch of things out the door and a bunch of things done, but once you get over that hurdle, it's basically like easy breezy. So that's what I'm looking forward to, and looking forward to the things I typically tend to accomplish when I have that downtime. But we're at the end of the podcast, and of course, as always, thanks to you guys for coming out here and doing this podcast thing. No need to get too mushy. You guys know how I feel about you guys. And we all over here are super appreciative to anybody that listens and supports, especially at this time of night. We are basically like the late night podcast, and there's definitely way better ways people could be spending their Saturday evenings. So words can't express how we are thankful. And we hope by listening to the podcast that, you might have gained a new perspective, or you might have learned something new, like the fact that if you are a Doordasher, you better make sure you're tipping, or else your chicken sandwich or your what's that white sauce called? Tahiti sauce may be a little cold. Or we just hope that you found us entertaining. But if none of that happened, then all we have to say to you is be warmed and be filled. Thank you. Okay, stop recording. I really hope I always feel as if I'm forgetting anything. But yeah, I think we're all set. As already mentioned before, the playlist, our song selections are already in the description below. So if you feel like tapping into some music now or later, it's already ready. So yeah, good night. So stop streaming.